Hello. So if you're watching this video, it's probably because you've been having a little bit of trouble using the symbolization module. You think you've been entering the right answer, and yet it's been telling you it's incorrect. And you think, what is going on? So I'm going to just tell you what's going on, and I'm going to demonstrate it. So here we have our sentence, if Sally is going, Quincy is going. So we might think, okay, this is an if sentence, it's a conditional, so let's tell it it's a conditional. So we right-click here, we get our menu, and we can also get the menu if we remember by pressing enter. And we can also, and then we choose conditional. And by the way, that Control-Shift-C is telling us that if we hit Control-Shift-C, then we could put in a conditional. So we can put in a conditional like this. And we think, okay, so the if part, well, that's attached to Sally is going. So that, and the if part attaches to the antecedent. So Sally is going is the antecedent. So let's say this is S, because Sally is going is symbolized by S. And we think, okay, the other part, Quincy is going, that's going to go in the consequent, and Quincy is going is symbolized by Q. So let's put in Q here. Okay, good. So here's our sentence, if S, then Q. And we check it, and it's incomplete. Think, what is going on? So in a broad sense, if you were writing this out on paper, and you wrote S arrow Q, your symbolization would be correct. And you would get it correct. So what's happening is we've correctly sort of identified the pieces, but we've made a mistake in telling the program what's going on. So if we look, this arrow, if we notice, is on a dark blue background, as opposed to, well, so they're the text boxes, right? So there's this text box which has text in it, there's this text box, and there's that text box. And each text box is a light blue versus the dark blue of the background. And this arrow is on the dark blue of the background. So the problem is that we're running into is that the computer doesn't recognize stuff inside of the text boxes. It's, as far as the computer is concerned, this stuff is English, and it's only interested in stuff in the logical language. So although we have an S here, that, as far as the computer is concerned, is just some piece of English it doesn't know what. And although we have a Q here, as far as the computer is concerned, that's just some English stuff it doesn't know what. What we need to do is tell the computer, I want you to, I want to have a logical symbol S and a logical symbol Q. So what we should really put in here actually is Sally is going, because that's the English part. And what we should really put here is Quincy is going, because that's the English consequent, right? This is the English antecedent, and this is the English consequent. And then we need to say atomic, right? Because remember, the atomic sentences are the sentences that don't contain other sentences. So Sally is going does not contain a sentence, so it's atomic. So we'll say atomic, and then we'll put in the S and make sure to be a capital S. And now we see this S is on a dark blue background. Remember the Q before. So this Q, if we look, right, this is on a light blue background. It's in a text box. Here, this S is on a dark blue background. It being a text box means it's English. Dark blue background means we've told the computer it's a logical symbol. So we need to do the same thing here. We need to say atomic and put in the Q. And now if we check it, it says correct. So the difference doesn't show up here. It was if S then Q all along. But the difference is down here, that now we have the S and the Q on a dark blue background, which means we've told the computer these are atomic sentences. And we've told the computer, more importantly, these are logical symbols, so treat them as logical symbols. When we have the S in here, as far as the computer knows, it's just more English, and it doesn't look at it. So that's to complete a symbolization, you have to get all the way down to the atomic pieces, and you have to tell the computer, tell Logic 2010, these are atomic. If you don't tell the computer that, it doesn't know that, it thinks it's just English. What goes in here, it actually doesn't matter. You could have nothing in here, okay, and it would still be correct, okay? The text boxes are completely ignored, okay? They could all be empty, and it would be correct. The computer does not care at all what goes in the text boxes. Those are to help you to break down the sentence so that you say, okay, here's the whole thing, and then you say, I'm not going to worry how I symbolize this, I just know it goes there, and I don't worry how I symbolize this, I just know it goes there, and now I look at this, how do I symbolize this? Oh, it's atomic, it's an S. Oh, this is atomic, it's a Q. And we'll be doing more complex symbolizations where it's really helpful to do that, and we'll be talking about that as we proceed. For right now, the key thing you need to remember is make sure that these get turned into sentence letters using the atomic drop-down menu, or the keyboard shortcut, which is Control-Shift-2, actually. So, okay, if you're still having problems with the symbolization module, be sure to let me know, and good luck with your symbolization.